tonight the Baroness is premiering at TIFF. I mean, she's up there. She's up there looking down. Played that Anna de Armas. Like looking down going, I made it. I knew I'd make it.
I'm finally a star.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, Jude and Vanessa, you both wanted to live in your character's house, but Ron put his foot down because of safety. Why were you both willing to rough it like that?
Curiosity, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, a lot of this, so much of this story is about people out of their comfort zone and embracing the outdoors, the elements, testing themselves. And at that early stage while we were prepping, I think there was a huge amount of excitement, right? And because we hadn't spent the 4 months outside. And it just felt like a very direct way to connect with this couple. Mm-hmm. And even just the time we did spend sort of nosing about and planting things and whittling was kind of connective and bonding to that experience. I think we just wanted to keep pushing the envelope. And quite rightly, Ron said, there are a lot of dangerous snakes and spiders out here. Let's not do that.
We asked every day then, didn't we? We asked every day. And the, I think it was also because those two particularly were so isolated. It was just them. And so it's quite hard in today's world to imagine just being completely on your own for that long. And I think it was 2 years or something, maybe 3 years before everyone else turned up. So it was almost, more than anything, trying to get the sensation of being completely alone and just with nature.
And the interesting thing about all the characters is they were doing this voluntarily. You know, they were going off the grid for their own separate reasons with their own lifestyles and you know, agendas and so forth. But they were there because they wanted to be. So I appreciated that they were volunteering to rough it. But we were making a movie, and I did need them to show up the next day, not poisoned by some critter.
So did no one have a phone on set, or?
Oh, well.
Phones were allowed. Phones were allowed.
But no signal.
If you had to be stuck on an island with a group of actors and actresses, and I ask all of you this, who would you pick to be stuck with, current company excluded?
Excluded? Oh,
They
no.
have to be actors and actresses.
Yes.
Oh.
Off that film. No,
Just life in general?
I mean, who's left?
Should we come back to that while we all think?
Yeah, or you can pick somebody who's no longer alive. Just interesting people.
Well, look, my buddy Hanks has already done it, right? Castaway. He'd know what to do.
know exactly.
And he'd be funny.
Yeah,
he'd be funny
he'd
doing
go
it.
to.
So, you know, that's an easy pick for me.
Stanley Tucci, because he cooks good. And I need food. So,
Really,
I guess.
it's a really good one.
Maybe Jennifer Coolidge. It'd be really fun.
These are great answers. I'm just seeing blank. Gosh. Daniel?
No.
I keep thinking of Marlon Brando.
Well, you know,
I love him. And he went to an island on his own, right?
Yeah.
Built a beautiful hotel. There you go. I'll stick with Brando.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Good answer. What's the one thing you would bring to a remote island that you couldn't live without?
Music. A turntable.
Oh, Daniel.
What?
No one can up that. It's too good.
Have we got enough food already?
Do we have
We've got
water? Do
food.
we have supplies?
See, we're all we've been through
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
good food and water supply, so it's in addition to that.
I'll bring mosquito repellent.
Good call.
Really good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
So much.
call. You see, everybody's very pragmatic.
The complete
because they
works
get-
of Shakespeare.
I think we did have them in our house, didn't we?
Because you need something to light the fire with, right?
Right.
No, that was a joke.
Ron, Viggo Mortensen recently expressed disappointment about Amazon putting 13 Lives on streaming. Were you similarly disappointed?
Sure, because the movie played really well on a big screen. We worked very hard on that movie. We were proud of it. It was built, designed to be, to be experienced first and foremost that way. All that said, I really did understand the particulars of that moment as it related to COVID, the marketplace, and the challenges that that Amazon faced with it. So I didn't push hard. I understood the rationale behind the decision. As an artist, as a filmmaker, always my preference for people to see it the way they're going to see Eden today here at TIFF. But I also understood those circumstances.
And before Eden, a couple of films before Eden, you did obviously Hillbilly Elegy. What has been your reaction to JD Vance's political ascent?
Well, I've spoken about this quite a bit. I don't really have anything new to say on it, but I have been surprised and concerned by a lot of the rhetoric, coming out of that campaign. There was no version of me voting for Donald Trump to be president again, whoever the vice president was. Given the experience that I had then, 5-6 years ago, I'd say that I've been surprised. And look, we got to get out and vote. I mean, for whomever, but be thoughtful. Listen to what the candidates are saying today. That's what's really relevant. It's who they are today, and make a decision, an informed one.
Anna, this award season, and Chip here as well, we're seeing a real return to the erotic movie and sex on screen. As someone who starred in an NC-17 movie and got a very deserved Best Actress nomination as well, what has been your reaction to this resurgence?
Of more erotic movies, you said?
Yes, and because there had been a real, for many years you didn't see any because of many different reasons, but movies like that couldn't get into China, and there just were many reasons why, and it seems like it's back.
I love it. Why not?
What are the films that are being made?
Yeah, I haven't seen any lately that I know there's some buzz like coming out of Venice with Nicole in one of the movies, or something like that, but I haven't seen anything lately that is that erotic. But personally, whatever's coming out, I love it. Why not? I don't have a problem with those kind of films. I think if they're interesting and the story is good, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sydney, you've said that you've been working on concepts for Anyone But You sequel. What's the current status?
I can't share anything about that right now.
Yep.
Yeah, would love to talk about Eden.
I would imagine you have so many offers pouring in right now. How do you plan your 2025 when Euphoria season 3, is it settled that it's going to start shooting in January?
Everything is still just trying to juggle it all and figure out what's next. I don't have an answer.
So you plan your 2025 in December, maybe.
Honestly, it's every day it's like a moving target.
You've all, I believe all, have played great villains in various, Vanessa, I think of you in Mission Impossible, Daniel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is it more fun to play villains than heroes?
Well, we all have, something evil inside of us, but we, are not supposed to show it, so we hide it. And to explore this, monstrous part and the darkness that we all have within us is thrilling, is interesting, because we have to put it away, we have to hide it, mostly. So, yeah.
In Eden, we have some villainous characters. Ron, are they more fun to direct the scenes when?
Well, this sort of equilibrium, what attracted me to this project were sort of the different agendas, what was motivating them as individuals. And I honestly don't think of any of the characters as being evil. They make some decisions that I wouldn't support, but they do it under this pressure test that they've subjected themselves to. And they're, emotionally, they're evolving, they're shifting, their sensibilities are changing constantly. And that's why it was such an interesting acting challenge. And it's one of the things why one of the reasons why the story has always stayed with me. So I don't agree with all the choices all the characters made on some kind of moral level, but I understood why they were making the choices, and I found that interesting. I hope audiences will as well.
Final question, Ron, how did you assemble this particular cast, given all of the, it must have been like a Rubik's Cube.
Well, the story and the screenplay, provided this attraction, and I was not going to go forward if I couldn't put together an ensemble of this caliber, because frankly, it's complicated. All these characters are very, very challenging. Now, I like directing those kinds of scenes, and every day was pretty thrilling. It was tiring. It was hard. It's an indie movie. We didn't have a lot of time to analyze and think about things, and I think in some ways that energized what they were doing. But it was, I was just delighted. I was kind of in heaven. You guys were sort of miserable from time to time. But just watching these scenes come together, through their talent and artistry, and also just kind of creative endurance was, everything I could have hoped for. But it was this story, right? And it was this set of characters. It's so unusual. People aren't really making movies like this so much, and here we had an opportunity to do that.
And the fact they were real, as you were saying, Sydney.
The what?
The fact they were real people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the fact that the story happened, and there was actual research to be done, and you guys were all diving into that, and then building on it. It was exciting. It was creatively really exciting to be around.
Was each character in the film also real, or was any brought in?
They were real.
All real.
Every one of them.
Yeah.
You can find old newspaper clippings on them. It's really fascinating.
Film. They were recorded at the time, and we had all of that. Remember, we had in my office and in the production office, we had everything on the wall. We had a video monitor kind of running all the old footage constantly.
But it feels incredibly modern, the film, and also the characters. They were way ahead of their time. And I think the film will resonate with what is going on right now, especially post-pandemic, because who hasn't dreamt or thought about leaving everything behind and start anew and live a different life, further away from civilization, back to nature. I mean, I did in my life, so I moved away from a big city to the countryside. And so to try and create a new setup, a new way of life. And then the interesting thing about this tale is what happens with paradise once the people come together. Is paradise lost, or will it prevail?
Well, and the funny thing is that all these people made the same decision. So you would think when you get there,
They'd be like
but
mine.
you're my kind of people.
That's right.
We should get along. Like, let's create this, this group.
I think that's another reason
and it's
it's so relevant.
completely the opposite.
And because of that, it's like this divisive perception of how to live, which again is happening a lot around the world today. Like, we need to go in this direction, no, this direction, maybe this direction, or return to this, and that's where the drama got hot.
Well, it's kind of this crazy collision of personalities, and it is they sort of put themselves into a pressure test circumstance, and there were changes, there were shifts. It evolved in an interesting way, and it does become a thriller. That's ultimately sort of starts off as this survival story, and it really does turn into a very intense thriller. But again, all driven by character, and all based on this circumstance that these people really went through. Wild.
Survival in the toughest of situations.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting. It's like being put into that extreme, just felt so extreme to be inside of it.
And these characters were, very particular, and a little eccentric. There's a lot of humor.
Just a little bit.
Well, that was
Just a
my
little bit.
feeling as the director. You got that.
I mean,
Little.
when I was reading about our family, like it took 8 months to just get to the island when they were leaving Cologne, and that's a journey in itself. Like it wasn't just, oh, let's hop on a plane and we'll get there. Like it took them 8 months to actually arrive to their destination.
Without knowing what it looked like.
Exactly, they had no idea what they didn't know if there was water, food, anything.
A further 2 months to take their belongings from the beach to a place where they could live by hand.
And also what media back in the days, I mean, it already worked, how these tales, I mean, if this couple wouldn't have, tried to change the world and had written these articles, maybe there was a little vanity involved. But if they would have been fine because nobody else would have arrived on that island, But even back then it worked. Out of a barrel, these articles, these papers were sent to all these big newspapers, and then people like this family, the Wittmers, were attracted by these, exotic, adventurous, inspiring tales. And of course they were thinking, wow, this is a way to get out. And then being willing to travel to the end of the world is still quite remarkable. But, I understand the attraction, After having lived through the horrors of the First World War and all the consequences, they thought like, well, this is maybe a chance to create really like an Eden. So yeah.
And then I come proposing an amazing idea and they don't like it. I never knew why.
Well, in another time, I think the Baroness, with all of her entrepreneurial spirit, would have been
Also,
a dominant.
I think often about the Baroness and how tonight the Baroness is premiering at TIFF. I mean, she's up there. She's up there looking down, playing that Anna de Armas, like looking down, going, I knew I'd make it.
I'm finally a star.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought about
so
her.
funny.
Right? She got her page.
She
got
keeps
her moment.
reinventing herself.
She
Yes.
got her moment.
And Ritter's philosophies are being considered. And understood.
Yes, the one thing people always say, so when can we read them? I'll go, and there's nothing to read.
Yeah.
That's a spoiler, but you know what I mean? I mean, no one, they never got published. Yeah. Burnt them.
Yeah.
And the Wittmers are still there and cooking,
Yes.
for tourists, so they will be
Doing
happy
my
too,
hotel.
maybe after the
Living my life.
Oh, Anna's getting fired up.
Yeah.